Meet Walid Sekhri, a Canadian Taekwondo athlete who grew up defined by discipline and competition. But when sport ended, the transition hit hard. He lost his sense of identity, slipped into unhealthy coping habits, and his weight climbed to around 310 pounds. Now he's rebuilding from the inside out, finding a new purpose, a new kind of competition, and a path toward becoming an orthopedic surgeon.
Martial arts trains you for every aspect of life. They prepare you to compete, when you're at the top level, but they don't prepare you for what happens when you don't have sports anymore. Everyone has different coping habits, and definitely mine were not healthy because I was trying to eat my pain away, and it only made the pain worse. I wanted to arm myself with the knowledge to be able to heal myself. If this is the path that I was supposed to go through, maybe I needed to go through these knee injuries to then become a better physician, because I was supposed to be a physician all along and not an athlete.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of You Only Die Twice. I'm your host, Warren Ward, and in this episode, I'm joined by Walid Sekhri. He went from Taekwondo to insurance to now his pursuit of medicine. If you are someone who's looking to understand how to reinvent themselves, then look no further. This is the perfect episode for you to watch. But before we start, the best way to support this podcast, which y'all been doing, like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, your cousin, your uncle, your auntie, everyone else in the family. And without further ado, let's get into it.
When this is gone, I die.
Walid, my brother, how's it going?
It's going well, man.
Good.
How are you been?
I'm good. I'm so elated to do this. I've been waiting for the opportunity to sit down with you, just through how we met randomly at a party. And Rachel and I said, I don't know how we got into the conversation of the topic, but Rachel and I were like, we got a podcast about this.
Yeah.
And we kept in touch, and here you are. So
yeah, it was just like so organic.
And very random.
Did not expect it,
Yeah.
going out, but I'm very happy to be here. I'm excited to have the platform to share my story, which I'm very grateful for. And I've been looking forward to this since the summer. It's been a while.
I always like to start with why the topic's important. It gives context, and this is like our third season doing this. So for me, this is something that isn't spoken about often, and I think it deserves light. There's a lot of people who go through various forms of transition, and I think your story encompasses everything that we want to discuss. I've dealt with this personally, obviously going through basketball into something else. So I always want to start with why it's important for you. You've gone from Taekwondo to insurance to medicine, which is where you are now. So why is the topic important to you?
The topic is important to me because I think, like you were saying, there are not many people out there talking about this. I feel like my entire time since I started doing sports, I was never prepared for the opportunity of, like, they prepare you to compete, when you're at the top level, but they don't prepare you for injuries, the life after, what happens when you don't have sports anymore. How do you transition and recreate yourself? Because if you're an athlete, it's an identity, right? It's not similar to medicine, law, in the sense that it is your personality. You take it on.
Mm-hmm.
And so and you have to be passion driven to go that far. And so when you do lose that, I'm a passion driven person, and I don't do well with, monotonous, boring life. And I like to compete mostly with myself, obviously with other people as well. But I think just working like a regular job just never did it for me. And so this has been one of the toughest things that I personally had to deal with. I didn't have somebody to walk me through it. I didn't have resources like your podcast, where I can tune in, hear other people's perspective. Sometimes you think that you're the only one going through this struggle.
I know.
When like we met and then you were telling me about your injury history and stuff like that, that was a breath of fresh air, because I'd never met somebody who went through such similar situation, but then you also had an Achilles on top of the two ACLs. So I'm like,
Yep.
It can always be worse. So it's like at some point you're like, okay, it's not so bad. But I think the main point on why this is important is, I think there's a whole new generation of kids that are starting sports, getting to that place that we were at, and unfortunately some of them will not make it, a lot of them will get injured, and I want to be able to pass on some of the learning opportunities that I had. Whether what they choose to do with that information is up to them.
Exactly.
But at least it's there, and if someone can take benefit from my struggles and not make the same mistakes that I've made, I'd be happy with that.
That's a win. And it's funny because I always say one of the first 5 questions you're gonna, when I met you, one of the first things I asked you is, what do you do? You want to identify
Exactly.
people and put them in buckets.
Yeah.
So to say, if I say I'm an athlete, most people say that proudly.
Yeah.
You want to identify with that.
Exactly.
And when that's gone, you have to identify with something else.
Exactly.
And are you just as proud of that, And I also think whether you make it to the highest level or not, it's still the same outcome. You still have to find something else that you want to do outside of that.
Absolutely.
Money or not. And we've had people sit in that seat that have had all the success in the world, and some people who have dealt with what I've gotten as well. So, it's both sides of the coin. But let's talk about your roots. Let's talk about where you got started. How'd you get introduced to the sport that you're in, Taekwondo? You're the first fighter we've had on this, so it's pretty dope.
Okay, so I played soccer when I was younger. Soccer, I would say, is my first love. So growing up, I played soccer competitively. And then I hit a critical moment at the age of 12 where I got cut from my rep team. And, it was the first bit of adversity that I came across. And at that point, I did not have the tools and the skill set to overcome that. So I started just snacking, and I was getting pretty fat, to be honest.
Bro, you were 12. Yeah.
I was 12. Playing video games, watching TV. And so there was a Taekwondo gym right beside my house. And my mom initially put me in Taekwondo for weight loss. She's like, you're getting fat, we got to get you out of the house, away from the PlayStation 2 or 3, whatever I had at the time. And so I started with Taekwondo just I always found it cool, interesting. And I'll tie it back to kind of where I was born and came from. So I was born in Algeria, okay? Immigrated to Canada when I was 9. I grew up in a very rough neighborhood. And so when I moved here, I didn't have any friends. I didn't speak English. I only spoke French and Arabic. I was ESL till university. And so the reason I bring up my roots from where I come from is because Taekwondo, the first thing on my mom's goal was weight loss, but for me it was building confidence. So every year for the first 8 years that we moved to Canada, I'd go back to Algeria, visit family, friends, all that, and then back home they're like, oh, this guy's Canadian now, he's soft. So a lot of people would come at me with that energy back home, and we fought a lot.
Okay. So they would try you.
They would try me,
right.
You know what I mean? And so it was one of those things where people back home think that just because you live in Canada, it's all, it's all great. So for me, the big thing with Taekwondo and any martial arts, I recommend it to anybody. It helps you build this internal fortitude where you will always feel safe. You know what I mean? Obviously I'm not Jackie Chan, if someone has a gun, it's not going to work on my moves, but it's just one of those things where when I started going back home and people would try me, I had responses, I had solutions.
You had something to say.
Exactly.
Right.
But so that was my main, I guess, motivating factor.
Right.
So I started going through the belts, and then I'm someone that's very intense. I would describe myself controlled chaos in the sense that when I like something, I love it. I overinvest. But when I don't love something, it's not I'm just mediocre. It's I just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not in it at all.
Not at all.
No, I can relate.
Exactly. And so within a year and a half, I got my black belt, and I went to a couple regional tournaments, and I won, which qualified me to provincials. So went to provincials, won, and then went to nationals, won, and then just went to Pan Ams, got silver. It kind of was just, from the moment I got my black belt, it was just there was a takeoff where I was in high school. I was finishing up high school. I was Team Canada at this point. I did not want to go into uni. I wanted to just play sports because I was also playing varsity soccer at that time at UFT. And so 2013, I had my best year I was ranked 16th in the world in my division. I was traveling all over, like every 2 months, trying to qualify a spot for Canada in the Olympics. And at this point, I'm feeling invincible.
I was going to say, how'd that make you feel?
Invincible. I felt like I was untouchable, not in the sense that like it's just sports and then like that's all I need, that's all I'm going to do. My mother at the time, which now in hindsight, mom's always right. She's like, no, you're going to go to university and you're going to go to UFT because I didn't bring your ass all the way here for you to not go to the best school, immigrant mentality.
Of course.
So I went to uni, but I never applied myself academically. I was there for the check mark, but my heart lied in sports. And so leading up to the invincible aspect, I think the biggest thing for me that I had a click, a click when
Eureka moment.
Yeah, a eureka moment. When I was 17, I went back to Algeria, and there was this guy who was like the neighborhood bully. You know what I mean? I'm not a fighter. I would describe myself as a.
Oh, that's ironic. You're not a fighter, but you're in Taekwondo and a black belt.
Exactly. I'm not an aggressor, I would say.
Okay.
And so I go back, and this is the guy who, I guess by other people's definition, you would call it bullying. I never wanted to label it that because that gives them power. But he tried me again, and I felt like he was so pathetic. Like, because he's just he's like 6 years older than us. He's just like picking on us, stuff like that. And I completely did not want to fight him. Whereas if I go back, when I was younger, I was a very angry kid. Taekwondo helped me with that.
Why were you so angry?
Family issues. My parents divorced shortly after we moved here. So I had to be the man of my household since the age of 12. My dad wasn't really around growing up. And so I just felt like, woe is me, like life is unfair. I go to soccer practice, everyone's dad's there, you know what I mean? Like, whereas my mom's working 2 jobs to like put food on the table for me and my sister, stuff like that. So it really taught me some valuable life lessons that I carry with me to this day. And it all starts from within. I think a lot of people want to find the right people kind of in a relationship, friendships, whatever, but very few people try to be the right person. And a whole part of Taekwondo or martial arts in general is, yeah, you're a fighter, all these things are cool, but I think the mental aspect, like we meditate to start and to finish. Like I just finished sparring with my training partner, and then they taught us like some RMT stuff so we can massage each other so that, we're not sore for the next day. So I learned a lot of valuable life lessons that I didn't know how important they were until like I started getting a bit older. But I had a few moments in my life that made me realize that, what? Everyone needs to do some sort of martial arts. My mom put my sister in martial arts. She's also a black belt. And so I feel confident that she's going to be okay when she goes out. You know what I mean? But really it's the mental side of martial arts for me that I think is invaluable. And there's 2 things, my future kids will have to do, martial arts and mathematics. But yeah.
Why mathematics? Martial arts I get. Why math?
So this has to do with my medicine pursuit and me taking school seriously. But mathematics, fundamentally in education, it is the baseline for everything else. Like they say, if you want to learn physics, you got to learn math.
Yeah.
If you want to learn chemistry, you got to learn physics. If you want to learn bio, you got to learn chem. And if you want to learn psychology, you got to learn bio. So
it all starts with math.
It all starts with math. And that could be from an engineering perspective. It could be medicine, law, everything. It's like it is a language.
Probably should have paid attention more.
I probably also should have paid attention more.
It's interesting, so much of what you said just now. How much of your identity is tied to Taekwondo, or was tied to Taekwondo?
I would say 100% used to be. I didn't really have an identity. I was just an athlete. I was a Taekwondo black belt. I That's all I did. I was training 2 times a day, 3 times a day, closer to competition. I mean, in fighting sports, it's a bit, there's also a huge sacrifice every competition. You got to cut weight, you know what I mean? That's a grueling process in its own right. So it teaches you a lot of sacrifice to get to the competition, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the discipline that's needed, for instance, like when I was younger, I was competing as a heavyweight because I was very tall. But then when I went to seniors, I have the body type for a middleweight. So I would have to lose on average 20 to 25 pounds just because it's my...
To go and compete?
Yeah. Because my training partner was this big, jacked Serbian guy who had no fat to lose any... He had no water weight, no fat to lose. So he could not go down. And so to be on Team Canada together, I went down. The other thing as well is like heavyweights at that point in Canada, like so within the national scene, they're like shorter. When I say shorter, we're talking like 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah, you're like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, 6'4". So like 6'1", 6'2", 6 foot maybe, but they're either like the body types are either like super jacked. You know what I mean? Yeah, you might have to ask yourself, are they taking steroids? You know, these guys.
Right.
The other half are a little stockier, whereas in middleweight it's like tall. I was short for my division actually. So when I went to international competitions, I'm facing people who are 6'6". I fought someone who was 6'10".
Oh wow!
It's like it's a whole different ordeal in that sense. But I think at the end of the day, martial arts is like trains you for every aspect of life. Every aspect, because you know, having also played soccer, you know, you play team sports. For you, basketball, you play team sports. Sometimes you have off days, right? Sometimes just like
a lot of those.
It happens. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so sometimes your teammates will pick you up, and there's days you do that for them. Whereas individual sports, it's just you. So, you know, and then we have, I don't know, we've all had coaches who play mind games. Mine did a lot to kind of rile me up, but it was always, I knew for a fact that if I was never drank, never smoked, never did nothing when I was competing. I want to give myself the best chance to succeed. I sacrificed everything to be where I was at. And a lot of times, let's say like I'm sick or like I had a lot of high ankle sprains that later on I found out were the reasons my knees no longer work, because I never gave them enough time to heal. But so I'd be like, oh, coach, I'm like, let's say I'm tired or like my ankle's still swollen. He'd just always repeat the exact same line. He'd just be like, okay, no problem. Don't come to practice. But, you know, in 2 weeks' time when we're at the competition and you lose, we'll look back at this exact like moment and we'll know why you didn't win. So it's just like, you know, like that was my first introduction into like sports psychology or gaslighting or whatever that is.
Yeah. Gaslighting. What injuries did you sustain? You touched your knees a little while ago. I'm interested. How did things end with Taekwondo? Because you're at the pinnacle, like you said. You were 16th in the world in your division.
Yeah.
So how did it come to an end?
Great question. So I had a lot of high ankle sprains, as I said, and I never took the aspect of recovery as seriously as I should have.
Sure. Because
within martial arts, or just fighting sports in general, there's this culture of like you got to be tough, you know, like don't be a little bitch, you know, that kind of energy, which it pushes you to, you know, push certain boundaries. But I think for me, it did me a disservice. And so now leading up to the first knee injury, I actually sustained it in soccer. I was playing and I was like shielding the ball, and then, you know, with like ACLs, it's usually like two forces going opposite directions. So I'm pushing my leg this way to protect the ball, and then he literally just like went right through me, and I just felt the pop, and I fell on the ground, and it was just numb. And you know, I was like in a state of shock. Everyone's like, oh yeah, get up, you know, that kind of thing. But I was just like, I've had a lot of injuries up until that point, like more minor ones, but I knew right away there was something wrong. Did the surgery, rehab, the whole 9 yards, you know. Came back, and then now looking back, you know, hindsight's always 20/20, but prematurely, I would say. And then 8 months later, I was in training and I was going into a clinch, and then like my training partner accidentally stepped on my foot, and like his knee pushed my knee that way. But it was like a quick coming together. And
Sure.
and what that did is it caused an even worse injury than the first one. So
On the other knee or same knee?
other knee.
Okay.
So this one I tore my ACL and medial meniscus.
Yeah.
This one was ACL, MCL, meniscus, and I broke a piece of my cartilage. So now it's a degenerative knee. So I have both arthritis, which is like inflammation,
Yeah.
and arthrosis, which is degeneration. So I'm a fantastic candidate for knee replacement one day.
Sounds lovely, doesn't it? Yeah.
You know what I
Beautiful.
mean? I'm trying to wear this knee out as much as I can. Hopefully they have better solutions for us.
Oh,
you
they
know?
will. AI
Yeah,
will
yeah.
fix that in a few years. Give it
Exactly.
time. Don't worry.
Exactly. And so those were the main knee injuries. But now with my medicine pursuit and my expanded understanding of like MSK or musculoskeletal injuries.
Yeah,
and
yeah. No abbreviation. Say the full thing.
Sorry, yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you.
Musculoskeletal injuries. It's all linked. So biomechanics, it's just like our bodies are built perfectly. You know, it's like you buy a brand new Lamborghini. But the moment you have that first piece that, you know, let's say I need to change an engine or, you know, brake pads. From the moment you start, like something goes wrong, it's all downhill from there. And so
Come on, man. Don't tell me that, man. I got a little bit of hope.
No, you're good, bro. But at the end of the day, what I want people to understand is if you have, it's those minor injuries that cause or lead to the big
bigger
injuries.
ones, yeah.
Very rarely do you see anybody just out of the blue, like have an Achilles or an ACL. For most Achilles, it's a calf issue, right? That usually starts.
Yeah.
Like a Tyrese
Halliburton.
Halliburton.
Yeah,
You got
strain.
Exactly. You got Jason Tatum. At the end of the day, if you don't take care of those little injuries, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're putting yourself at high risk for one of these big injuries.
So when those happened, and you at this point, the second one, you're done, right?
Yeah.
You know that it's time to hang it up.
Yeah.
Did you feel robbed?
Of course I did. I would say I did not have the insight at the time. So my second one, it was, so now I'm like 24, about to turn 25. I did not have the emotional intelligence, the insight, and I guess the self-awareness to understand what I was about to go through. I felt as if my life was over. I did not know, like, first of all, just the shock itself that like I have to give up sports.
Yeah.
So like my surgeon literally was like, okay, buddy, we're back here, you know. He's like, at the end of the day, you have to hold it up, man. Like I'm at a point where like I can't go for a run on the sidewalk type of thing. Like I have not done cardiovascular in that sense in 7-8 years, I'd say. Like I do like no impact stuff or low impact stuff like biking, rowing, stuff like that. But walking, you know. But like for my particular injury, it can get worse. So, and I don't have, you know, like you can go do stem cell, TRT, like different types of treatments, but in Canada, they're not as prevalent, and you need
20 grand later.
You need a lot of money, exactly.
Yeah.
Which I did not, and I still do not.
Yeah. Not for that. I was going to do that. I was going to do stem cell.
Yeah.
Once I saw the price tag, I was like, we're good. We're good. We'll be fine.
Exactly.
You after the injuries, you told me that it's so interesting. You said that food became your biggest enemy and your biggest comfort. So you went back to when you were 12.
Yes. It's wow. You know, actually, I've never thought of that till now. Like,
Okay.
Like that connection.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say because you told me, so I was like,
no. I absolutely, and I'll get into that. But the connection from 12 to, yeah. I mean, at the time, like I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do anything. So my coping habits were food. Also, I was eating like 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day to train twice a day, 3 times a day. So like what you do for pre-competition is I would just eat like 2 kilograms of pasta. Like I'd be making it.
Day.
Yeah. It's highly. It was pretty nasty. I don't think I did my best work in the kitchen.
No.
But
when you got up, so when you were eating all that, what's the weight you got up to?
I got up to 310 pounds.
What do you weigh now?
Right now we weigh about 200.
310 pounds.
Yeah, that was my peak. I kept the same eating habits, but where I screwed up is I added the sweets, you know.
That'll
so
do
I had
it
the
to
carbs
you.
and sweets, and obviously it was like I had to, you know, when you have like after surgery, you have follow-ups, like 3-month, 6-month follow-up.
Yeah.
When I saw my surgeon after I think 6 months, and I wasn't quite 310 yet at that point, but I was like in the 260s, 270s. He looked at me, he's like, "What are you doing, man?" He's like, "Yo, you're the other thing with post surgery is you have to be lean, especially for the knees,
of course,
because the added pressure, right,
all
that
that
you're
weight,
adding,
man.
all that weight."
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't recovering as well as I did from the first one on the second one. You know, I had to be. I mean, obviously I had to be non-weight bearing.
Mm-hmm.
They did like a microfracture surgery. So what they do for that is like if you ever break your cartilage or damage it, they actually break it a bit more so that, because I was still young, so that it can recalcify and come back stronger. Kind of like when you break a leg or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for like 4 months, I could not move, not even walk. So I had to be like this all day. So the only thing I had was Uber Eats, and I was living downtown. And so, yeah, like for me, I was conscious that I was eating a lot. I mean, I had a huge appetite. But I think now looking back, I wasn't conscious of the detriment that this food is doing to me. Like, it's a vicious cycle. I like to call it the vortex, you know? You're depressed because your knees hurt. It's like, okay, so now I'm going to eat my pain away, and then I'm going to get fat, and then I'm not creating a healthy environment for my knees to heal. And then now I'm like, oh, exactly. It's just like one basic thing. And the big thing with athletes or anyone that ever goes through any type of trauma, there's like a word in psych that describes it perfectly. It's called melancholy, right? This like woe is me mindset. Like you said, you feel sorry for yourself. I got angry. I was like, why me? You know, like my surgeon, it's funny. I reference this to people when after my second knee injury, where I was like talking to my surgeon, I'm like, yo, can I ever go back to playing sports? Not competitively, you know? And he was just like, yeah, you know, no problem. He's like, the fact that you tore like the ACL and then you tore the other knee, because usually most people were like re-tear the same knee.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, it's 1 in 400,000 the chance, so you'll be good. Like, I think he was trying to tell me that to be like, oh no, you like the fact that you're gonna have a third injury is like the odds are even
Very
worse.
seldom, yeah.
But that made me feel terrible. I was like, I'm the 1 in 400,000.
I know,
like,
man. I wonder what mine would be then.
I don't know, but I'd love to know.
Yeah. Find out. Let me know. We'll chat GPT that after this.
Yeah, for
We'll
sure.
out.
And so, to me, that was, I would say, like, you know, everyone has different coping habits. And definitely mine were not healthy because I was trying to eat my pain away, and it only made the pain worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I know what you mean. I didn't get up to 310 pounds, but I know I definitely had a few passes and chickens and whatnot in my day to cope with some of the pain. What feeling from competition and from Taekwondo do you miss that you can never recreate?
Fantastic question. I would say the opportunity to better myself in something that I'm passionate about, and that's why I'm chasing medicine. I think, you know, like with sports, I think for me, so I'm speaking for myself here, I think it's so easy to identify. Like, let's say you play soccer, right? It's like you try and do keep ups, or let's say you play basketball, like you have a terrible jumper. If you work hard enough on that jumper, it's gonna get better. It's like translatable results. A lot of everything in life is like that, right? It's like a growth mindset aspect. But with sports, it's like there's like a reward aspect to it. It's like seeing the ball go in the net, or you know, like winning a medal. You know, regular life, you can have these moments at work. You know, like a regular 9-to-5 job, and no one's gonna come pat you on the back. There's no validation, right?
Yeah.
In sports, you sacrifice a lot. You put in so much work for a prize.
That's right.
Right? I miss the aspect of competition. Obviously, the first and foremost, competing with myself. So like the growth aspect and growth mindset of like, this is where I was at a year ago, this is where I'm at today, and this is where I want to be in a year's time. So like, like one way to, you know, I have terrible ADHD. One way to like a big life hack of mine is I gamify life to make it less boring, you know?
What do you mean by that?
It's like, okay, it's like you play Mario Kart and then you have like levels and then you're going to fight Bowser at some point.
Yeah.
It's just like I create like a roadmap for myself. So I'd be like, okay, what's my goal this year? Is like the first thing is like, I want to be a black belt, you know? And then I was like, okay. And then, as you know, when you achieve that, it doesn't just satiate that appetite. It makes it grow.
Makes it bigger.
So then you're like, okay, I'm a black belt, but like, where do I go from here? You know, like, I want to be a Taekwondo master at some point. So that's 4th degree. I'm a 3rd degree black belt. Couldn't make it, unfortunately. But it's like, okay, I want to go to provincials, nationals. So you can always keep upping the ante, right? I miss that aspect, competing with myself. Those days where I don't want to be there. Those days where, you know, or let's say you have setbacks and then it's like, how do you recover from this? You know, like stuff like that. I miss that aspect. And then obviously competing with other people. And I want to be very careful how I word this, because I've seen toxic competition. I've seen people who would rather drag you down to lift themselves up, you know?
Right.
Whereas for me, it's I'll compete with you, but at the end of the day, it's all love and respect. Whereas not everyone, at least from my experience, some of my foes didn't, you know,
Wasn't like that.
Wasn't like that. You can have beef at times, you know.
Yeah.
But I'd say it's really the competition aspect and the burning desire to just be the best version of myself. That's something that I love.
Well said.
Thank you.
After Taekwondo was done and you knew that, right then and there, what did your actual resume look like? Your professional working resume?
Honestly, I've been working since I was 14. So I've had many jobs, little jobs. But my professional resume was not, I did not have the resume to do anything really.
The reason why I asked the question is because at that point in time, did you see yourself where you are now?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think, you know, in life, we as humans, what causes us anxiety is, you know, this like feeling of like we think we're in control, or like we make all these plans, you know, but life never ends up adding up like that. Like there's always a curveball that's going to be thrown that you didn't see coming.
So then why do we make plans if that's the case? If we know we're not in control, what's the point?
You ask a lot of great questions. That's a great question, and I'll tell you why. You have to have like an exoskeleton. Like you have to have like a rough itinerary. So with that being said, to make the most out of it, you got to be malleable, right? A lot of people are
adaptable.
Not adaptable.
As what I say.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, adaptable is the better word. You got to be adaptable. You got to be able to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
And, you know, with more information, you get to make better informed decisions. So like today, I don't have all the information, but a year from now, I'll have more information. So it might change the trajectory a little bit or a lot of it, you know, so I think adaptability and planning is obviously essential, because you can't just go through life not knowing. And that was me. I was a huge planner, but then when I stopped competing or playing sports, I did not know how to translate that to regular life, or translate the skill set that you know we all build through competitive sports to non-athletic goals.
But it's not just planning, it's purposeful planning, because it's like, okay, I want to become a professional athlete. So what I planned to do was, when I wake up in the morning, at this point in time, this is going to help get me to the outcome that I'm looking for. The plan has at 10 a.m. I'm training, at 12 o'clock I'm eating, at 4 o'clock I'm doing this, 6 o'clock we're going to scrimmage, and all that leads to the outcome that I'm chasing. Sometimes in life, don't work that way.
Most of the time, most of the time in life, you know.
Exactly.
But I think big picture, that is what I want people to understand is, I learned all my life lessons through sports.
Yeah.
I've learned everything through sports. I think the toughest thing for me is I also express my emotions through sports. So like, say, you know, when I was dealing with some family problems growing up, I would just play soccer, or I would just go to training, and I would like
let it all out there.
Yeah, whatever like you're going through is like, you know, you hear a lot of people say it's like, oh, my safe haven. That was my safe haven. When I go into the gym and I put on my gi and put on my black belt, I'm like, okay, there's no longer Walid who's, you know, dealing with X, Y, and Z. It's like, I'm here for me now, you know? And until I found education, like purposeful education, I didn't realize how much of a selfish experience it is to be an athlete, because you have to invest especially if you want to be, like you said, purposeful with your journey. You make the sacrifices that we make. Very few people in life go through day-to-day sacrifices like that. Whereas, like, you know, people always ask me, like, how did you, like, I would lose 25 pounds in like 3 days because I didn't have.
Bro, that's insane.
That's like most. It's essentially like you dehydrate yourself.
Yeah, what are you, bro? David Goggins? Like, that's the only person I've heard who does that type of stuff.
Every athlete does that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone that competes in martial arts, MMA, everyone does that kind of stuff because our bodies are not all similar, and there's 8 weight divisions, at least in Taekwondo. And so you have to fit in one of these boxes.
Right.
Then you try and rehydrate and eat like a lot of pasta to get ready because you compete the next day. You weigh in the day before. But when you're doing that every other month, that, you know, I think you build very unhealthy. I mean, at least for me, it contributed to my unhealthy eating habits because I would go through periods where, I mean, by like the definition, you're binging, right? It's like I would be eating a lot because I need all the carbs. I'm in training. I'm going to training camp. So I need all the fuel I can get. And then it's like, okay, closer competition, like I would say 2 weeks out, depending on where I'm at, like for the weight, I would cut all carbs. So I'm eating just like veggies and chicken. And then about like 3-4 days, like I'd say 5 days out, I started drinking like 3-4 gallons of water a day. So you overhydrate yourself so that you can remove all of the salt from your body. So you have water retention. And then you just, for like, I'd say 2-3 days prior you're just in the sauna with like a million layers. Sometimes there's one competition I even brought a stationary bike in there because I was running behind
In the sauna?
Yes. And there's like,
that's crazy.
And not making weight is like, it's the most embarrassing thing you can do. It's like, what are you doing? Are you even professional? Like, do you even want to be here?
Wow.
It's like the first fight is the fight with yourself, right?
Wow. So
And
you have to earn the right to compete and fight somebody
absolutely.
else. So
And it is a
interesting,
humbling
man.
experience every single time.
Have you ever not made weight?
I have. And it was like,
Were you embarrassed?
I
Yeah.
thought it was the end of the world, man. Like it was, and trust me, my coaches let me know.
Yeah.
But like sometimes I think with that one, I yo-yoed my body weight so much in that particular one because I entered this competition last minute. It was like Canadian Open here. It was like at the Weston Harbor. And I remember I had just done like 2 grueling weight cuts, and then I needed to like, so it's like a point system for Taekwondo. So I needed the points. And so I entered this competition and I didn't make weight. And I just like, it happened to me once in my life, and like it never happened again. And it humbled me, definitely.
So interesting, man. It's a cool story. As someone who's trained to hurt and protect at the same time, how did that shape your understanding of strength?
I think martial arts is, a lot of people think fighting has to do with like pure brute strength, whereas it's really not. My coach is 5'5" and used to kill me. Like his grip strength is trained, you know. It's not from God, you know. It's like his mentality. Like, you know, you have people with like high IQ. It's like basketball, right? Like you have LeBron, he has both, you know. But like Tyrese, for instance, high IQ player, may not fill up the box score, but you know he is controlling the tempo. You know he knows exactly which plays are being called. He knows how to read the defense. So I would say IQ is the biggest thing. I would say and more importantly for women, you know, like seeing my sister go through the similar path that I did, but in her own way, attests to this. You don't need strength. You need technique. And technique, anyone can learn. So like...
that could be applied to life.
Exactly. And so I used to teach like self-defense classes for women at like a community center. I used to teach, like after I became national champion, my coach was like, okay, if you become an instructor, you don't have to pay like gym fees or whatever. So
You signed right up right away.
I was like, sign me up, put me in, coach. And so, yeah, I was teaching people how to defend themselves. Like we're talking kids, like entry level, like 5-year-olds to, people, grown-ups that either want to get fit or, want to learn how to defend themselves, whatever it may be.
You taught your sister as well?
My sister I was not that far along in my process when she was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But she used to help me with the classes like outside of the gym. But I think technique is the most important thing. So if you know what you're doing, you can have like a 6'10" guy and beat him,
Right. You've technically experienced 2 deaths already. You left Taekwondo, you got into insurance.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like? And how did you go from insurance to medicine?
So I was living downtown in Toronto, and I was, like I said, sitting at home.
Eating.
Yeah,
you got that.
At that point, I was no longer in school and I had to get a job. So I found like, I honestly stumbled upon, I was just looking for something I can do from home, So I applied, I got in, and I started selling like health insurance to people, just like from home.
Isn't that ironic?
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that was, I would say, because like when most people were projecting themselves career-wise in like, let's say grade 12, like I'm going to university, I want to be an engineer, I want to do this. I never projected myself academically. I never saw a pathway to a career through education.
Why?
Because I was banking on doing it through sports. You know what I mean? And so
Same.
It is what it is. But I got, it was a job. That first job was like a get your foot in the door,
make a little money
type of job.
Exactly.
And I think that gave me the first boost to wake up and, like, okay, I still have to move. Because the thing with life, life is so hard. You could be going through the best day or the worst day of your life, but tomorrow will still come. You still have to do what you got to do, like, doesn't matter if you need a break from life. Life is
still
consistent.
moving, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so after like being just, I was isolating before COVID essentially.
Okay.
I was just like, because this was like right in like the 3rd month of like my non-weight bearing. So I was just literally at home alone all day.
And working in health insurance.
Yeah.
While your knee was up and you couldn't move.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was like, I didn't realize at the time, but that was the catalyst to everything that came right after. Okay. Because, you got to start small, right? With anything in life, it's like an avalanche. It compounds, right? Mm-hmm. Getting that first job, making a bit of money, being able to not stress about paying rent, stuff like that got me out of my funk a little bit. And that's when I made the decision that I'm like, okay, I've never been through, and at this point, I'm like reaching the 300s. Yeah. And I'm like, nah, this has never been me. Like,
you're about to be on TLC in my 600-pound life.
Literally.
Yeah.
And so I think at some point in time, you just have to make a decision. You know what? Like, I'm just gonna try something. A lot of us try and like plan out the perfect, like, I'm gonna do it. Like, people are like, I'll go to the gym, and then it's like, I'll go to the gym at this time.
When I feel like it, when it's sunny, when the weather's good, when the girl that I like is there, or when the guy that I like is there, or whatever. People, yeah.
You know what I mean?
All that.
But I think the most important thing is like I said earlier, like with more information, you get to make better informed decisions. And I learned that was like when I learned that lesson where insurance, I didn't even know like anything about insurance, to be honest. I had like not studied anything about it. But getting that, I'm working sales, like it's like, okay, so there's like commissions aspect to the job. Mm-hmm. So like, oh, it's like there's like they have like KPIs, mm-hmm. like key performance metrics, that they're like tracking. And that was like, oh wow, so I'm competing with my team here,
just like sports.
So that was like the first like another eureka aha moment where I was like, oh, okay, so I have, like,
You
I
can
can
do
translate.
things. Yes, yeah,
I can
yeah.
translate my skill set to other things.
And you can find success outside of sport.
Exactly. And so I stumbled upon that. And when I started getting the ball rolling a little bit, I got an opportunity to, and sorry, this is happening concurrently where I made a decision to now, like,
Lose weight.
lose weight.
Right.
And so, like, I would say it took me a year to go from, like, the lowest point in my life that I think I'll ever go through, because I will never allow myself to get back to a lifeless body, is how I would describe myself. Just letting life, like, guide me. Whereas, like, you have to be intentional with life, like, you gotta take the bull by the horns type of thing. So as I was losing my weight, my knee started feeling better. I'm doing my rehab, and I'm doing well at work. I got an opportunity to transition to another company, whereas I started off in operations, and so I was doing that, like, just like making things more efficient. And then it led me to financial lines insurance, which is, like, I'd say the coolest form of it, as cool as insurance can be. So, like, you're dealing with stuff like employment practice liability. So, like, someone gets sued for sexual harassment, wrongful termination, racism, cyber liability.
And
so
you
like,
have no background in any of this.
none.
Perfect.
The secret, to, like, a job, they teach you everything at work.
I know.
All you need is the soft skills, right?
Yeah.
Are you a communicator? Are you somebody that is like, people love to work with? Are you someone that is dependable? Just like sports, like, can I see you go to war with me? Like, how they say in sports, like, we're going to war. It's not that intense, at a desk job, but on a lighter note, it's like, okay, I have a team here and I am a member of the team. I have a role. I have to make sure that I, pull my weight. And so this is kind of happening. I would say it wasn't intentional. What was intentional was, like, me getting back to me, because I know if I'm the best version of myself, I can apply myself and do anything. And so, funny enough, when I actually started investing in me again, in a healthy way, then everything else started just, like, falling into place and lining up for me. And as things get better and you get out of the vortex, it starts to give you that motivation that, hey, okay, so I never limited myself. Do I see this like being what I do for the rest of my life? And the answer to that, I had to come up with the answer during COVID. I would say I was very good at my job. I was making good money. I was there for the money, to be honest. I was chasing the wrong things. And I think what led me to medicine are the same things that led me to sports in the first place. Whereas, like, how can I have an impact in the most intentional way that means to me, right? Different people will have a different answer, to that question. For me, how I went from now, being a business bro, Vein King Mans.
Yeah. Well, you lost weight, you're making money, so you're finding success outside of that, and then you leave it.
Yeah. So this is COVID, honestly. And I was actually talking with my friend about this, like, a couple months ago. I was like, he asked me, he's like, if COVID never happened, would you have quit your career and, like, be like chasing medicine right now? And to be honest, I don't know. COVID happened. I moved to Montreal. I felt like I plateaued here. I felt like something needed to change. I did not know what exactly, but something just didn't feel right. And so I moved to Montreal, like, January 1st, 2021. January 9th, 2021, they put a curfew. So you guys didn't have that here in Ontario, but at 8:30 p.m. you had to be home. I knew nobody when I moved to Montreal. So for the first 3 months, it was like a retreat for me. That was when the biggest growth of my life happened. I was alone in my apartment. I was working still, but I'm getting to a point now where with this job, where I'm like, okay, like I don't see myself doing this for the next 30 to 40 years. And I think I'm 27, 28 at this point. And I always knew I wanted to go back to school and apply myself. I did not know for what exactly. And so in this year, I spent a lot of alone time, and I had to deal with a lot of, I think we all have anchors in our life, whether it's family issues, whether it's our issues, sports, injuries, whatever. But it was like you can run from like some of these core problems that are holding you back. You don't have to address them to people. Some people don't even know what's holding them back, to be honest with you. So even that's just finding out what is holding you back is like a huge W in its own right. But I think that internal work of like coming to terms with all of these things, I would say I'm not a crier, but I cried a lot in those 3 months. Why? I couldn't tell you, man. But it was a cathartic moment where I was just like, I felt like I was putting to bed so many of the things that, why me? Like, how did I get here? Also, when life moves fast, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but like, I'd be like, I was working this like corporate job, and I knew nothing about insurance. I was like, how did I get here? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, so that was like a moment in time where I feel like life was on pause, and I was able to really do the work. And so I was thinking about going back to school to be a clinical therapist. I'm like, my community is armchair psychologist, so I'm like, I might as well get paid for it. I considered an MBA if I wanted to keep going the business route, but I think I was doing myself a disservice, because the biggest thing that I found out about myself in that moment was I was limiting myself, whereas I never did that when I was younger. Like, I was like, oh, national champion? I'll be world champion. Like, I want to go to the Olympics, People look at me like I'm crazy when I'm saying I'm like a yellow belt, which is like the second belt you get after white. Like, I'm going to go to the Olympics, And for me, I realized, I'm like, you know what? If I have to be completely honest with myself, the only thing that, since I was a kid, that carried the same level of passion for me was medicine. It was like also my mom's dream. I wanted to make her proud in certain aspects. She wanted that for me when I was younger, in my first degree. Whereas I had to come back to this conclusion on my own. Mm-hmm. Because you cannot chase something like medicine if you're not fully
committed to it.
Absolutely. It's a long journey. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And you started late, technically.
I started very late. And I would say even later than just from an age perspective, I did not have the skill set to learn.
Did that make you feel insecure?
Oh, are you kidding? That's my biggest insecurity. I'm telling you guys this right now. Anyone who's willing to listen, my biggest insecurity as a human being is I know I'm smart, but I want to prove to myself that I'm smart. I mean, intelligence is multifaceted, right? Like, you have in school, like, there's 8 types of intelligences. School tests you on 2. Yeah.
What are the other 6?
Interpersonal relationships, intrapersonal relationships. There's like a music aspect. Some people are more tactile. Some people just feel fabric. They can tell you, okay,
it's from what it is.
Exactly. So it's like the intelligence stems from your senses, right? So like there's people who like can listen to music and know there's some tones that you and I may not hear because our ear is not trained, right? Or like, let's say you have an interior designer who can walk into a room and just be like, okay, I see the vision.
And put everything everywhere.
So this is intelligence, or someone that knows how to manage relationships. If let's say you're an account executive or
well played.
Something along those lines,
Well,
but just being a people person is a skill. Not everyone has that, And so, but for me, I would say I wanted to right my biggest wrong, because I always had a little bit of regret that I never tried in school. I was just there, like I said, to get the check mark.
And then to go play sports.
Exactly.
And now it's come right back around. Isn't that funny?
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But what I realized through that experience, you know, with work and stuff was that, you know, like I was saying earlier, you have the same skill set that's needed to be a top level athlete is the exact same skill set that is needed to be a doctor. It just, you need to know just how to translate it into non-athletic goals. And so learning how to do that with work was like an easier first step. But me going back to education was, I felt like that was my biggest anchor because it was the source of my biggest insecurity. I read a quote once. It was like, and it just resonated with me till today, honestly. And it was like, in life, make sure you're as educated as you think you are smart, because a lot of people, and again, this doesn't apply to every single avenue of life. I'm speaking for medicine. I'm speaking for things that require education, right? Like you can make it now without going to university, right? Like with AI, the internet, stuff like that. But for me, my passion and what drove me to medicine was multifaceted. I wanted to really understand how to deal with these things. And so I guess how I chose to deal with these injuries was I wanted to arm myself with the knowledge to be able to heal myself. I think foundationally, it's like I would like to tell this to anyone from medicine. I'm trying to heal the pain that broke me. Most doctors, you know, like the first generation doctors. So you have like two types of doctors, okay? You have doctors who came from nothing. Like they wanted medicine. Like there's a specific reason they're there for it. And then there's Nepo babies, you know, like both their parents are doctors. So, you know, it's just right. Someone got to take over the family business. And so you really see the difference in the type of care that they do and give. Not all doctors are emotionally intelligent. They're super smart. They know what they're talking about, but we'll just be like, blah, this is the situation. As opposed to like,
this is your problem. This is how you fix it. Get out.
Yeah. Like it's like you're talking to a cardboard box, you know?
Right.
And I had that experience with dealing with people when I was trying to find out, like, what is arthrosis? Like, what does that mean? You know, like, why can't I? Like, I've had another friend who had, like, knee injuries, but why can't I go for a run and he can, type of thing. And so it was like I wanted to be my own patient, first and foremost, and heal myself. Fix my biggest insecurity, which is, you know, what if I had really tried in school? Could I have made it, you know? And so at 27, 28, I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I live with so much regret at such a young age. Like, what's realistically stopping me from just doing it? Like, at the end of the day, I don't want to be like 90 and be like, man, I should have done this. I think at the time also, I'm now, I quit my job. I decided to quit my job. I applied to go back in to do a second degree. And so I concurrently got a job in the ER as a medical scribe. So it's huge in the US. It's not very well known here, but a medical scribe is essentially a medical documentation specialist. So they do the administrative portion of the physician's job live. So you walk around in the ER with something called a cow. It's like a computer on wheels, and then you're accessing the patient's chart. You're charting live. You're putting requisitions, X-rays, MRIs.
You do that now.
So this is now managing the program.
Okay. Before.
But before, that's where you start as a scribe. So we have to build a lot of knowledge in you so that you know when the doctor's using the abbreviations, they're having the medical lingo, like what's going on. So that started feeding this thirst that I hadn't had in like years. And I'm like, oh, wow, like there's so much runway with medicine, just like, you know, sports. And I'm like, okay, so let's do this. At first, I was like, I don't think I'm good enough to do this, even though that's not me as a person. Like, I'm the type of person that'd be like, I don't care where I'm at today. Like, I'll try. If I fail, I fail. It's not a problem. And I'll reorient. But with medicine specifically, because it's so like emotionally charged, I was working from a place, not from a place of strength, but from a place of heavy weakness. And so getting in the ER, seeing people die every day, talking to people, you know, like like they have like terminal cancer, stuff like that. Sometimes they'll just tell you things. They'll be like, yo, don't live with regret. That's kind of the overarching theme from everyone that I've spoken to or come across is just do what you have to do. And
do what you want to do.
Do what you want to do. But I say do what you have to do in the sense that I had to do this for me so that I could be the best version of myself.
Are you attached to the outcome? Let's just say you hypothetically don't become what you want to become.
I'm definitely attached to the outcome because I would not be doing it if I were not. To me, there is no plan B. It's like I'm doing this, whether it's medicine here in Canada, the US, I'll go to Australia. It's like you can, what I've learned is not to limit myself. It's like a lot of things are far-fetched. You know, I don't know how I'm going to make it happen.
You don't have to.
I don't have to today. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I just know right now I'm like, let's say you're in step 1. Let me just make sure I kill step 1 so that I can get to step 2. And if you have that mindset for your entire journey, you're going to make it to wherever
you're supposed to go.
You're supposed to.
Yeah. Because I'm going to quote you. You said, I've competed with my body and now I'm competing with my mind.
Yeah.
That holds true.
That does hold very true. And that quote right there is kind of what reignited my passion for life. It's the competing. I'm not trying to compete with my mind with other people. It's with myself.
Yeah.
So what I meant by that is I had to learn how to learn, you know, like, because if you can just do a degree, right? But if you want to be a medical student, there is like skill sets you need. How do you make flashcards? How do you memorize? Do you build a memory palace, right? So you have to know so many things about stuff in different aspects. Like amino acids, you have to memorize them. They're codons, and like these are things that are not natural to me. So I felt like I had to do a lot of work. Like school is not like I've met some people that are just brilliant. You know what I mean? Like they have photographic memory. I've seen it live. You know, you always hear photographic memory.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I've seen people who will read a page and tell you exactly what sentence it was, where it was, and like we're talking like, and they can just scan. Or some people that can read, like, you know, like have you ever seen like those fast readers?
Well, my sister's one of them.
Exactly.
It's
Insane.
Like I'm on the page for 3 minutes. She's on the page for 30 seconds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you're able to do that and walk away with comprehension as well, because you could read, but like sometimes it doesn't register, right?
Yeah.
So it was a scary, like it made me feel so insecure, but so excited at the thought of, you know, being Dr. Walid Sekhri. To me, that was just like, it scared the shit out of me, but I was just also so excited at the prospect to achieve that, or just give myself the best possible chance to achieve that.
To achieve it. You've experienced loss, obviously, with sport, reinvention, redemption. What kind of doctor do you think that's going to make you, and what kind of human has it made you?
What kind of doctor? I have an idea of what type of medicine. Essentially, number 1, orthopedic surgery. So I wanted, but specifically arthroscopic surgery. So that's dealing specifically with like ACLs.
What you experienced.
What I experienced. I want to do my surgeon's job.
Yes. Yes.
So but the road is long. Surgical culture is very intense. So like if you want to start a family at some point, there's a lot of sacrifices to be made. But I'm leaving that for a later. That's a later Walid problem.
That's a different podcast. Yeah.
The two more realistic ones I would say are Emerge. I love ER. It's I love the chaos. I thrive in chaos. And it's just like you really are making an impact on people, because at the end of the day, you know, people don't just go to the ER. You know, if like they're there, it's like probably one of the worst days that they've experienced either in their life or in a really long time. And so like you can see relief, you can see instant impact, you know, and then if not, it'd be sports medicine. So that's essentially, you do everything that an orthopedist would do without the actual surgical component. So work with teams, essentially the patient population that I want to work in are people that are highly ambitious, highly driven, that want to better themselves. So like from a sports medicine perspective, it's, you know, I'm not trying to work in a geriatric population with like old people just in the hospital.
Right.
You know, so again, it's one of those where as I go through the journey, I'll know which one aligns.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people tell me like, hey, sometimes you think you know exactly what you're going to do. And then, you know, you do a rotation and you're like, oh, this is not for me, you know? But from everyone that I've met, I have the profile of an orthopedic surgeon. They call us ortho bros, you know?
Finance bro, insurance bro, now you're an ortho bro.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully.
Hopefully, well, you will. You described yourself earlier as your first patient, and you've said that to me.
Mm-hmm.
So how have you treated yourself, and how do you treat yourself?
I think I've had to learn to do a better job at treating myself.
Both physically and emotionally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it all starts with, you know, treating myself. I think it's multifaceted in the sense that treating yourself is like, let's say you go to the gym, you have good eating habits, you invest in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to treat myself like tangibly through medicine. So like, I want to be able to be at the frontier of the solutions to my problems. So like something new comes up, like a new treatment, I want to be able to understand when the lingo that the doctors are talking,
mm-hmm.
what it actually means. You know, or because when I got surgery for the first time, I was just like, yeah. Like it was like more from a perspective of like, I just wanted the surgery so I can get back to playing, you know? Whereas I had no idea what I was about to go through. And how humbling of an experience it is. So I think it's ever since I decided to take on this journey, it's changed. It's allowed me to be a lot more patient with myself. I'm not very patient with myself. I have very high expectations of myself, as I'm sure most people do. You know, we all go through bouts of negative self-talk, but I'm all about positive reinforcement. I think that's been the biggest change, where it's just like you cannot control life. Life controls you. You got to be intentional with it, and you got to be adaptable. And no matter how many times you fall, you just always get back up, you know? Like
keep going.
It's like I'm that annoying drunk guy that's trying to get in a fight with you, and you keep punching him away, but he just won't let you go, you know?
Right.
I think it's allowed me to be a lot more patient with myself and trust the process.
You know, one of the things I found with athletes in general, even myself, there is a story that we tell ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, for example, I achieved my childhood dream of becoming a professional, and I wasn't to go to the NBA. I wanted to go overseas. I wanted to make $1 million playing basketball. That was the goal. I didn't make $1 million, but I made money playing basketball.
Yeah.
And a good amount.
Yeah.
And I still told myself that I failed. I never looked at my career as a success, ever, ever, not once. No matter what I did, it wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
I got to play in this league, okay, but it isn't the Euro League, so I didn't make it there. I got to this point. I did a lot of cool things that only I got to do in my class. Like I was one person who got to do those things, whether it's the NBA draft camp, all the stuff.
Yeah.
Failure wasn't a success because it wasn't what you
deemed as success. Exactly.
So the story I told myself about my career, all the positive things that happened were all gone. They didn't matter.
Exactly.
So my question to you is, what story have you told yourself about everything that you've experienced thus far?
It's funny to hear you say that, because it is true. I mean, for you, it's like when I'm sure you tell people, you know, like your journey, people are like, oh man, that's Warren, that's amazing, you know?
Yeah.
But no matter how many times people tell you something, you have to believe it, you know? If you don't believe it, it doesn't matter who tells you that.
Oh, me and Ray were just talking about that, actually. We had lunch earlier. We just talking about belief, so sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. I mean, so true.
It starts with belief. And my mom and I would have this conversation a lot, because I always looked at myself as a failure because I didn't make it to the Olympics. To me, like when I put my mind to something, and if I'm going to sacrifice so much for something and I don't get there, you know, it's like, it is a failure in my definition.
How else can you look at it? Yeah. It
is the failure in my definition. I think the biggest thing is you have to be patient with yourself. It goes against our type of personality, because type A personality is the reason you get to this point, you know, because you're intense, you're driven, you have super high expectations. And once you visualize what success looks like to you, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Okay, people look at you, oh, this guy's successful. But if you don't believe it, none of that matters. And so for me, I wanted to transition that belief into something that I could, because the biggest thing was when I realized I can't play sports anymore, I was like, okay, then I have no use for life. Like what's, like,
I know, right? It's so crazy, but it's true.
Yeah. And so I had to reshift my value system to find success, or create a new definition of what success looked like for me. And so when you asked me the question earlier, like, how would you feel if you don't make it? It's like, you can't go into life, you know, or like it's like, you couldn't, like, if you had that mentality, oh, what if I don't make it? It's like, probably would not have gone to where you even got to.
Yeah.
You know, and then the sad part with like the self-talk and injuries and stuff, almost feels, well, it is out of your control, you know. You didn't ask to tear your knees and tear your Achilles, right? No. It just happened. I think all of this, if I had to peel back all the layers, I'd say God is what like kept me sane and kept me humble, and you know, back home we have this thing, it's called al-maktub, you know.
Oh, I know maktub, yeah.
Exactly. It's like your destiny's already written, you just got to go out there and achieve it, type of thing. And so for me, I had to realize that who am I so egotistical to question God, you know? Like, if this is the path that I was supposed to go through, maybe I needed to go through these knee injuries to then become a better physician, because I was supposed to be a physician all along and not an athlete. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's where it's like trusting the process and being receptive to life allows you to, I would say, navigate certain situations that you don't know what you don't know until you know. And so for me, it's just trusting that God got me, and that at the end of the day, I just have to do the best that I can with what I have, and keep trying to improve. And then sooner or later, things will line up in whatever way they're supposed to be.
Well said. To conclude, we play a little game.
Okay.
It's called For Three. You can answer in one word or one sentence, depending on the question.
Okay.
Are you ready to go?
Let's run it.
Okay. Choose one word to describe your journey thus far.
Eventful.
Good. There's a saying, make your mess your message. What is your message?
Make your mess your message. My message is you're doing a great job.
One thing you want people to take away from your story?
Never give up on yourself, and always aim for the thing that scares you the most, because that shows that you really care.
That is a conclusion, but I want to say, first of all, like I said, I was elated to do this. I believe you're smart. I hope you know that.
Hey, my guy.
You're brilliant.
Thank you, sir.
Very well spoken. You carry yourself well. This was I'm happy to do this. Honestly, this solidifies why I wanted to start this, and I'm so happy because of people like you. I'm happy we got a chance to tell your story.
Thank you so much.
You've reinvented yourself so many different ways, and I'm sure you have a long way to go. But if it means anything, I want you to know I'm rooting for you to become this doctor, because I know what that's like. And I know it's only going to carry over and make the other people who are going to experience the shit that we have, you'll be able to handle them with a different level of care. So I want you to know that, and I know you're going to achieve it. So
thanks, Warren. I appreciate the vote of confidence.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
Hey, if you like this episode, we are sure and positive that you're going to like the other ones. Again, the best way to support this podcast is to like, comment, subscribe, and of course, share with a friend. And we'll see you on the next one.